Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of the LabZtorm Baracade. This podcast is part of Barnacle and Storm and Bostic. This audio podcast is part of as part of the Ship Mode Squad. This audio podcast as part of a Storm the Bostics production. And through this audio podcast, a look at some of the analysis. Now, in as part of this um, uh, as part of this there's sort of two elements to the analysis, two elements to the analysis in around the collaborative workshops as part of this collaboration, or the collaboration that took place. So initially I look at sort of the analysis as part of where the collaborators had feedback in around aspects of their work of the collaborative workshops. So the workshops attendance ranged from approximately 30 young people to around 150 people, and across the different workshops. Again, remember again to inform, there were four main different workshops. Generally there was, the collaborators had around 30 young people to about 150 people across the different workshops. Over the workshop, there were a conversation rate of approximately 15, where there were 15 of those who attended were sort of regular or routine attendees. In a single week, there was an average of 11 to 12 who attended each, and a low of around 10, and each workshop featured the sort of main hip hop gardens team and facilitators, and in addition with uh, uh, with other sort of guests, or colleagues. And at the same time the music had been catered for attending for those for the demographic that had attended, and where the workshops were a huge success and a great addition to a great addition, and also where those who were invited to the workshops as form of those sorry from those who were artists, who were collaborators. Some of the collaborators were artists or invited artists, in as part of the different workshops. And all there were proceeds that were raised. There were sort of proceeds that were raised as part of the workshops, and the idea around those proceeds were in around where the Hip Hop Gardens team, for example, could actually develop or co-develop further sort of programs. Um, in as part of this audio, in as part of the other works, there is context in how much how in around the grand total that was attained. But for the purpose of this audio podcast, that is not to be or would not be is not going to be mentioned. So the main challenges included, however, a lack of an efficient signposting process for participants. Colleagues and collaborators, sort of at the same time, were not always able to effectively plan and assess the needs of participants, or for participants per different workshops. The language, and there was some language barriers also, which presented a challenge in across workshops that had participants who, for example, communicated in up to four different languages. Aspects pertaining to language barrier through workshops could have been managed better, and it had been had this been known in sort of more advance. What this meant was that the collaborators needed to expand the practicality aspects, and have a professional who could help translate sort of some of the skills for some of the participants to relay comments relay comments and sentiments back to the facilitators. At the same time, the aims and objectives of workshops were not always relayed to participants beforehand, and so therefore they entered the sort of wet workshop or the pilot workshop a little blind, a little blind to the expectations. This had the potential to derail the sort of cohort structure, as in some cases a few participants felt, for example, hip hop or the music was prohibited, and or felt it was went against faith and went against their beliefs or their faith to interact in such activities. The challenge in some cases, however, was also in around time within the scheduled workshops to ensure and so thus to ensure impact, especially owing to there being quite a lot of content that each workshop had. And there were also older influential attendees of and in around young people that caused some elements of disruptiveness, but facilitators around the Hip Hop Collins team were able to challenge all were able to challenge and encourage all participants to use voice or vocalize and make informed decisions in aspects pertaining to the different workshops. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of the LabZtorm and Barricade. This audio podcast is part of the Barnacle and Storm, and this audio podcast the Barnacle and Storm and Bostics, and this audio podcast is part of the Shipmo Squad, and this audio podcast is part of a Storm Robotics production.